It really get deep. Hey, yeah. Oh, I'm a lawyer.
Purchase your tracks today.
Lord, please protect my soul, yeah. Oh, forgive them what they don't know, Lord. They don't know. Hey, it really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the market of beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flashing police. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deep in the sea. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah, it really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. Hey, it really get deep. It really get deep. It do. Whoa. So I'ma go and plant the seeds. Change my life and then I see the truth. The most high is all we need. Asking myself these questions, but I think I need to ask the praise. Why you teach the wrong thing? You got it, nigga deep. I'm telling you, it really is bad. They got us finessing the bag. Chasing revenue. They tell us we stole, but what the market of beast? That was so much, so delete. You can read it now through Revelation. You fall short, but need this information ain't discreet. Just pick the Bible up and read. Yeah, but they too busy smoking quiche. That's all they ever wanna do. Wonder why talking, they don't wanna listen. They don't wanna listen. No wonder why God start talking, cause we don't listen. I'm an Israelite, I'm not a religion. No, it really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the market of beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flashing police. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deep in the sea. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah, it really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. It really get deep. Don't know what to say, but it really get deep. So we need to pray. They taught us that we wasn't Israel. It made us their slaves, it put us to change, become a Jerusalem. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we chose a face. Why do they hate us? Why can we not prosper? Put down the pork, strip and lobster, and put all your trust in the Father. When we were slaves, that's what they taught us. Because they knew it, disobeyed our Father. And by default, we did have the knowledge of what they need, because we were starving. And Sunday was our only day to rest. They showed our ancestors, they taught the rest. And now every Sunday, these churches full, with nobody keeping the Sabbath. Friday night, Saturday, they turning up. That's what we was taught when we was growing up. They praise the Jesus, but don't know Yeshaya. We call God, but don't know our God. It really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the market of beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flexing police. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deep in the sea. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah, it really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. Hey, it really get deep.
You in the belly of the beast. Gotta find my way through the streets. I know some youngers robbing just to eat. Ducking, dodging up police. Do anything to succeed. Gotta make a way by any means. My mama's is deep in the streets. Hey, but I had to switch my lane. The most I revealed his name. I started to keep the commandments. We in the curses, I can't stand it. Always hide on my face. I know some people out the way. Call them home and get answers. A lot of people battle cancer. What you gonna do when that martial law hit? What you gonna do when they enforce the chip? What you gonna do when your daughter can't eat? Prophecy fulfilled, but my people sleep. It's time to wake up. Israel calling a savior. No religion, but this is our nation. Israelites, the children of Jacob.
It really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the market of beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flexing police. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deep in the sea. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah, it really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. It really get deep. Lord, please protect my soul, yeah. Forgive them what they don't know, Lord. It really get deep.
Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. I am your humble servant, and host for tonight. I am Kyle. I'm solo dolo in the building. The Rib is out there making moves right now, and the young Hebrew is in there watching some good old movies. So you got me solo dolo tonight, but we are in the spirit, and yes, we are starting way past our normal time. A lot going on, a lot of things is happening. Forgive me for uh, having to make sure I get in the proper spirit before I come forward. So, the time frame doesn't always work according to the scheduled times of 8:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I do come through majority time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, regardless of the time. So with that said, tonight the name or the title of the show is of the disrespect and the what did I put it as the disrespect and the dishonor, I believe. Give y'all the title properly. Uh, if that's what they're gonna give me my scheduled events, my past events. If they don't want to give it to me, scheduler, appreciate it. Uh, yeah, well, with that said, we're not gonna go into that. We're gonna go. Uh, oh well, we're going to. So, the title of the show is the disrespect and dishonor of man and prophets. The concept of man in this world right now is going through a beating, absolute beating. The Rainbow Coalition uh, has come up with new um, titles for every human being because their organization is a part of confused human beings that don't know what they are. Since they don't know what they are, and the complication of man and woman is so far out of their understanding, right? That the concept of man and woman that's been known since the beginning of time, even if you don't want to go with the Adam and Eve, but from the beginning of time, it's been man and woman. But in this day and age, you have millions of people that seem to not identify or can't find themselves in either one of those categories. They can't find themselves in those categories, and they find those categories offensive because they can't find themselves in that category. Wow. It's one thing to say that you're not a part of being a man or woman, but then to find it oppressive or offensive so much that you have to lobby and get legislation to state that you can't say anything against them and that you have to educate your children about their confusion. Yeah, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. They're confused. They're mad that that everybody else in the world understands what a man and woman is and don't understand them, even though they don't understand what they are and they don't have a definition of what they are. But they decided to pay for legislators to make sure that we teach our kids their philosophy. And they didn't stop there. They went into the Hollywood, or rather the motion picture industry, and they went into the media industry, television industry, and they imposed their will to have more of them seen in our everyday and on screen viewing. The most oppressed people of this country are melanated people via slavery. Whether those people came from Africa or they were indigenous to this land, they went through Jim Crow, they went through Reconstruction, they went through all of the slavery laws that were enacted, such as the Code Noir. Those individuals are seen in the movies, they are seen in TV, but they had to fight for that in the 60s, and that thing was called civil rights. And after civil rights, they were put more on TV, they were put more on movie screens, so much to the point that the highest grossing actor after from 1960 to now to 2021 is in fact a melanated person. So what I'm saying to you is that you must take clear understanding and not let it go over your head that what it took 40 years for us, or 50 years, 60, 70 years, right? From the 60s until 2020, 70 years, right? 60, well, from the 50s, so 70 years to get to this position in the society where we have a president that was melanated enough to turn on the true anger and hate of this racist nation. So 70 years, and we weren't half as organized as this rainbow coalition of alphabets. What they have been able to amass in a much shorter time off of the backs of civil rights, you should understand that 50 years from now, the society will not look like a melanated coming up society as it appears to be now, but one that has already had its time and passed, and now is moving into a rainbow coalition of alphabet world, society, consciousness. It will be called a way of life. But yet, let me be more specific. It will be called our way of life. Mm. In order for that to happen, for it to be a way of life, this new definition of human beings and classification of human beings, what that means that it is a direct ending of man. So disrespectful to man, to the concept of what we know a man to have been in the past. Man has never felt this type of disrespect or direct attack. It has never been labeled toxic. Man has never been labeled toxic. Man has done colonization. He's been called the beast. He's been called a savage. He's been, like I said, a colonizer. He's been a horrible entity. But never has man been said to be obsolete. Man has never had an attack on it to where it is in threat of being obsolete. Well, at one time, we had prophets that were bountiful, plentiful. No one ever thought that there wouldn't be a prophet, there wouldn't be someone speaking from the Most High in this or in their moment, in their life. Never would have thought that. They never would have thought that this world would be absent of a righteous teacher. That's what prophets were. Righteous teachers, speakers of the Most High. We're talking about Ezra, talking about Isaiah, Daniel, Samuel, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Joshua, Moses. We're talking prophets, not just any old people. We're talking prophets that have always been here to lead our people, to give us the example of what the Most High says is righteous and how we should live, what we should aspire to be, and the words from the Most High. We are absent of that. The last one that was killed was the last one. We like to say it was Yasha. But the New Testament will tell you that no, they had other prophets such as Paul and some of the apostles. The prophets, I believe, ended with Malachi. That was the last prophet that actually spoke, and that was recorded in the Old Testament. I'm talking this down so that we have a clear understanding of what has and what is transpiring, because a prophet is a person that brings the past and the future in a present day understanding. That's what Jeremiah did. That's what Judges did. That's why when you read the Bible, many people say the scripture is full of parables or stories, because that's what prophets were doing in the story. They were explaining what has happened in the past. They are talking of the prophecies that have been given that are going to happen in the future, and telling the present day people, if you don't shake up and get yourself together, see in the field in Chanel, if you don't shake up and get yourself in order right now, the future is going to fall upon your head. The song that we played in the beginning, the brother's song is getting deep. And he says in the chorus, don't let it go over your head, that the mark of the beast is being unveiled, unraveled, rolled out. I saw a news report, or the press conference rather, of the Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, where they are extending their coronavirus somewhat of a semi-shutdown for an additional 2 weeks with their social distancing, because of this Delta variant that has come up that is more dangerous, even to the people that have had the shot. But the shot lowers the risk of them being hospitalized or dying. That's what we call the forked tongue of the pale face. It is to say that something cures it, but then come back and give that it's a high statistic to stop this new thing. That is double talking. That is forked tongue. That is telling a tribe, an aboriginal tribe, if you are the Spanish, that if you help me fight the French and the French tribes that are supporting them, I'll give you their tribal lands. And then after the Spanish beat the French, you turn around to that same tribes that supported you and tell them they can't have the lands. And then in fact, they're going to be expanding into their lands. uh, Forked tongue. So this forked tongue is what is the theme and the title of the show tonight. We, as set apart, cannot have a forked tongue or a double mind. We have to be clear, as the song said, that we are in times that these times are deep. No matter how much our regular life is crunching up on us, our home life, our family dynamics, our household dynamics, our work dynamics, the way that we bring in money dynamics, we cannot forget that we are children of the Most High. We cannot forget that we are children of the Most High. We cannot forget that we are children of the Most High. We have to walk through this fire being righteous. The people that are in our lives, the friction, wherever it's coming from, we have to be righteous in it to have the victory, even though it doesn't look like we're winning. It doesn't look like we're getting through. The ones that are blinded, the ones that can't see themselves, will fall on their own folly. We have to stay, we got to stay in the spirit. We got to stay righteous. And the only way you can do that is by reading for yourself. If you do not read for yourself, you will go astray. You will go a folly. It has happened even to the ones that read, they go a folly. So, how can you believe if you are not reading for yourself that you are not going to be confused? You're not going to be confounded. You're not going to get frustrated. You cannot believe that you're not going to follow the wrong road, that you're not going to go back to your default vomit and be as you were before you was in this walk. You are lying to yourself if you do not find time to read. If you say that you don't have time to seek his face, to read a scripture every day because you have to do whatever, you're lying to yourself. You are lying to yourself. I don't care if you have 20 kids. I don't care if you have 30 jobs. You have to find the time to read for yourself, or the world is going to take you on a whirlwind, and you're not going to know how to stop it. You're not going to know how to slow it down. You're not going to know how to slow down yourself, your heart, your mind, your desires, your tongue, your flesh. You won't know how. It'll be so far in your memory, you're going to be trying to remember something that somebody said out of their mouth, as opposed to something that you read that resonated in your spirit, that the Most High spoke to you through the Ruach HaKodesh and no one else. Yeah, my brother. And I tell Ricardo, man, tell Rick that I didn't go live on my Instagram feeds tonight. I'm only going on the YouTube, uh, Twitch, and Facebook right now. So, what we're talking about is the disrespect and dismantling of man and of prophets. That the prophets have been done away with. Now man is being done away with. Understand that. Man is being done away with. And as much as women may think that that is their come up, they have to realize that when they redefine man and they get rid of man, they're also redefining woman and getting rid of what a woman is and her traditional roles. See, as a woman may want to switch out her traditional roles because they may seem to come from a chauvinistic aspect, that the new ones that's going to come in are going to test them a little bit more than the old ones. Women are going to find that after a certain amount of time that there's a certain element of man, a certain nuances of man that cannot be duplicated or replicated. And in time, the women trying to replicate it will get frustrated, and the women seeking it will get frustrated. An emotional household, an emotional community, an emotional world is a world that is waiting for the first light or spark to hit dry weed. That's all that is needed when you are in a world filled with everyone making their own rules. The theme of the demonic books of um, rituals and dogma of Albert Pike and Aleister Crowley, the theme is do as thy wilt. Well, when the Rainbow Coalition of alphabets are changing what a man is, when they are destroying and disrespecting the concepts that the Most High has brought forth, then they are doing as thy will. They are bringing forth their satanic agenda. We rarely can get to homosexuality being part of the satanic agenda because there are so many feelings involved about people doing what is in them and doing what they feel, but yet they say, no, this is not feelings, this is who they are, this is what they're born as. So you're telling me that the Most High created man and woman, but when you were born, he told you you were something different from that. Although he gave you genitalia that matches those two distinctions. And don't give me the outlayers of people that are born with both. Don't give me the I don't need it. Don't give me the scientific of immoral, hormonal imbalance. There's somebody for everybody because if there's a strong woman, there's a weak man. If there's a strong man, there's a weak woman. There's the yin and yang all the way through this. So you do not. I know people that are happily married, crazy as it may sound, and she's strapping on and doing him. Now that's between them and their creator and what happens between them. But they are in a relationship and they are raising healthy children, and that's between them. And how I know is none of y'all business, but this is a fact. So when we are talking grown up about man and woman, and then trust me, in that household, even though that man is getting strapped up on, he's still the man in the house. Imagine that. Imagine that. I want y'all to fully take that in. He's still leading his household. He's not a Hebrew, obviously, but you know, still, my statement is, and my point is that Most High created you to be what He created you to be. You finding the plug that works with you is your job. That's your job. It is not your job to redefine what the Most High has, because it's your decision to redo what the Most High has said, and that's nobody's, right? So the disrespect and the dismantling of men and prophets, as our prophets have left these books for us, you've had people come on top of their prophecies in the New Testament, and you have all of these things that draw from these prophecies, but come with a new twist to it. Well, that's not a new prophecy. That's adding your commentary to a prophecy that's already stated. That's you giving it in a modern day take. If I sit here and talk about Gog and Magog, which is Ezekiel 37 and 38, that speaks about the war that's impending in the Middle East right now, that's been impending for the last 20 years, let's say since 1950, right? This impending war and unrest that is getting to its crescendo right now is prophesied in Ezekiel 37 and 38. I could get on Hebrew State of Being and start telling everybody that there's going to be a war, that this is going to be a true thing between the Zionists of Israelis, the Jewish people, and the Islamic people in that region. And then when it happens, I can say that I'm a prophet. Really? I took that from Ezekiel. It's just playing out right now. And since nobody else is reading, I can go ahead and tell you something that Ezekiel said, and you'll think it's mine because you're not reading, because you're not seeking it for yourself. This disrespect of man and dismantling of our prophets and their prophecies, the Most High is going to deal with mightily, mightily. But what do we do in the process of this, right? What us humble believers that are striving to walk in His light, that want to be able to have their heavenly glory, want to be victorious in all things in their lives. What do we do? What do we do as they are dismantling our society that the Most High put forth? What do we do as they are disrespecting man? What do we do when we are, as men and women, are being disrespected in our own homes, or being disrespected in our business, or being disrespected in our neighborhood, or being disrespected in our community, being disrespected in our clique? What do we do? Nehemiah is Ezra. Nehemiah um, has been renamed from Ezra for several reasons, right? That's a long show, but let me just state that there are so many things that have been done that us as people have let go. You know, the slippery slope is real. They rename our prophets, break up the books, change the books around, and we still say we believe every word in the book. We don't want to do no discernment. But back to it. What do we do, right? So this is Nehemiah, right? And what do we do in this time of issue, right? Needs attacks in our lives, right? We, Nehemiah 1, thank you, my brother Adon, chapter 1. These are the words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakalah. And it came to pass in the month of Chislu in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace. So let's find out what month is Chislu. I ain't never seen that before, y'all. My Sefer, I don't have that there like that. And it's a Hebrew word, Keslev. Keslav, of foreign origin, probably of foreign origin, so not necessarily Hebrew or Shemitic. It means his confidence. The ninth month of the calendar corresponding with November, December. Now, isn't that interesting that they say November and December are ninth months? So it says the ninth month of the calendar corresponding with November through December. But the ninth month we know is September. 9/11. How can we forget it, right? So, as you see, again, the difference in what they've done with scripture, what they've done with calendars, what they've done with time, what they've done with prophets, and what they've done with man. Here, you can't even decipher the month that Nehemiah was stating this because they changed the times. Because they changed the time and created their own calendars. What world do y'all think we're in? Right? So, ninth month, right? Kaslav, right? Kaslu, may not even be a Hebrew word, right? All good. So, Nehemiah, in the 20th year, he was with Shushan and the palace, right? And it says that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and a certain man of Judah, Yahudah, and asked them concerning the Hebrews that had escaped, which were left off the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. So they're coming in through great affliction. Do we think affliction is just being done by the outside world? Do we ever contemplate that affliction is happening in your home, in your family, cousins, aunts, your parents, right? That this affliction that the Most High sends upon us doesn't always come by way of the Babylonians, by way of United States government, or by way of anything, right? Like the problems in our lives, the reproach that we are coming under, the afflictions we know as Hebrews, those things are done for us to have lessons or chastising us for our iniquity. So when they say here that they're going to under great affliction and reproach, they are being dealt with for their iniquity. And it says, and the wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire, as was prophesied. Verse 4, and it came to pass when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept and mourned certain days, and fasted and fasted and fasted and prayed before the Most High of Shemaiah. Now, I want y'all to understand what Nehemiah did, because Ezra was Nehemiah. When they burned the temple, they burned all the books, all the scripture. That is what the colonizer has done traditionally every time he has colonized a world, a nation, a people. I'm talking from antiquity to the Americas, their last Sebastian. They burned all of the books of the Inca and the Maya. They burned anything they could in North America. So much so that the North American Aborigine don't even remember having libraries. They just know that they had kingdoms. Now they have oral traditions. Well, kingdoms write things down. Every kingdom does. Every kingdom recorded what they did. So that means that there's no recording of it. It was burned, it was destroyed, and it was not done by the people because the people were never recorded in the antiquity of destroying their own libraries, their own history. No, it has only been by the people that have taken them over. So we know that the Greeks and the Romans, the Vatican, these people that everywhere they went, they destroyed the history of those people and gave them their language. And if their God system was really strong, then they amalgamated their gods into their pagan gods and they made it a religion to unify the people. So we understand that these same people that were fleeing, the remnant that fled the captivity, that got the Ezekiel and Jeremiah prophecies that said that it would be torn down and destroyed. You have now Ezra, the prophet, that is now being given this news. And as everything has been destroyed, this is Rome, destroying the temple of us and burning all of our books, burning everything. Remember, at this time, they had gotten the Septuagint from us. Remember, when they sacked this temple the second time and burned all the books, it was because they had their translation from Alexander the Great. Think about that. So, because for all of those ones that are quick on the whip, you would say, well, if they destroyed everything of the Hebrews, how do we have the Torah? The Septuagint would be your answer. Yes, I'll take that for 500 Alec on Jeopardy. You dig? So I'm comparing this absolute tragedy and colonization. I am paralleling that to the problems of your day, in your life, in your community, in your family. That when those problems come, that you should do what Ezra did, what Nehemiah is done, because he Most High obviously found favor in this, because Ezra was given the ability to speak to angels and rewrite the scripture. We would not have our Torah, we would only have the Septuagint if it was not for Nehemiah/Ezra. So Ezra, when all of these horrible things came unto him, and when these horrible things come unto you, yes, you can mourn the pain of it certain days, but most importantly, you need to fast and pray before the Most High. Now, as we speak of Ezra and this and this soon to come destruction, we're going to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Yeah, they want to do me like that. Ezra. These people. 1 second while I figure out what they actually want me to type in there to give me my Ezra. Let's see if I put 4 Ezra in there. Let me see. It's got to be KJV books. So they give me Ezra 1. Why won't you give me second Ezra? All right, let me see this. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to pull it up for y'all to be able to see. All right, we just gonna get up out of there. All right. Here we go. All right, so why am I stating that what Ezra did is what we're going to need to do in this time? The only way you're going to be able to beat back, the only way you're going to be able to deal with these attacks that's going to come unto you is by fasting and praying unto the Most High. As the song I played coming on to the show by, I think that was by Sap, King Sap and Shadra, Shadara, yeah, Shadara, and Young Yash, right? So between, that song is deep. We have to not only uh, fast and pray unto the Most High, but we have to stay clear that we are in end times. We are in this second Ezra, which we're going to read partial of chapter 16 of second Ezra. And it says, woe be unto Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is us, and Asia, which is all from Asia Minor to China. Woe be unto Egypt, North Africa, and Syria, right, which is your Iran and Iraq. Gird up yourselves with sackcloth and of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. We talk so much here on Hebrew State of Being about end times and the destruction and all of these things that's been prophesied about the splitting up of the households and the separation and all these different things, right? That's going to happen. The pressure in the house is going to happen because the world is going through this prophecy right now. And the prophecy is saying that you're about to be in woe, in serious issue, and that you need to be sorry. And it says, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? So as we are dealing with this new variant, Delta variant, and they don't have an answer for it but to give more lollipops, more jugs, more lollipops, more jugs, and to even to the ones that have already had two lollipops or two jugs. I see in the building, Javon. So even if you had those two, they gonna want you to get more because of this variant, so that you can be safe. They're now telling hospitals that anyone that's working for you, you have to have the jug. But yet the jug is not stopping the variants of the same virus. The reason why they can't stop is because the Most High said that this was going to be so. Because in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 5, it says, the plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? No man. And no jug is going to stop it. May any man drive away any hungry lion in the woods, or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it had begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot from a strong archer? The mighty Most High sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightning, and there's been beautiful lightning storms the last couple of days out here, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Most High shall threaten, and who shall not utterly beaten to powder at his presence, shall be utterly beaten to powder at his presence. The earth quaketh. We know this is happening. We got earthquakes going in California, to New Jersey, to Texas. They are having earthquakes in places that they just never had before. The earthquake, the foundations thereof, the sea ariseth up with waves from the depth, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes therefore are also before the Most High, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrow that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Now, when you realize that the Most High is testing all of us individually, and that these arrows are coming, and that the people near you may be struck by them, and they may react a certain way, and that the way they react is affecting you, because they are giving their anger to you, they're giving their frustration to you, they're giving their passion to you. But you, as a man or a daughter of Zion or a prophet, you ought to be even killed, because you know what's coming, because you are a reader of the scripture. That when you see that evil spirit pop up in your people or around you, that you understand that this is the Most High testing them. That you have to just be righteous, not win, but be righteous, because there is the win. There is the win. It says, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. So we need to get ready that there's never going to be an end of this plague. And in fact, that is what's being reported on the news, that we are now just going to have to live with the Rona. Let me get some water, y'all. Excuse me 1 second. Speaking of that, I had to go ahead and get my Rona fighter. That's right. I got a homie that fights that Rona for me. Yeah. See, little elderberry with that vitamin D, vitamin C, immune system builder. You know what I'm saying? You want to get that in your life. Mm. And it tastes good too. I don't know these people not mhm, not trying to sell their product, but I'm gonna tell you like this, it worked. That's all I can tell you. So as we are understanding these plagues, we know that as children of the Most High, all we need to do is reinforce the beautiful immune system that He's given us. That means taking our vitamin C. That means getting our children out in the sun to get that vitamin D. That means cooking our food and not eating processed foods as much as we can. So, as the news reports say that we're going to have to live with Rona, meaning that no shot, no, no, nothing can stop this thing if we're gonna have to live with it. So now you have taken a lollipop that is altering your DNA, all so that you can not die from something that the Most High has already given you the cure for. All right, trying to stop the production of vitamin C and B, huh? Isn't that special? Right. So, with that understanding, we know that we are in a demonic world. Yes, we all want the white picket fence and the beautiful house, beautiful wife, beautiful children, all of that good things. But we have to realize that we are in a tumultuous time. That we have saints that are waiting for this time to come to its fruition, waiting for it to ramp up so that they can be in the kingdom. And it says, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consumes the foundations of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of the mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The Most High will deliver you in those days. I'm gonna give y'all a quick testimony. I know I'm going slow tonight. I pray that everybody is okay with the vibe tonight. Like I say, been fighting all day, man, and I had to get into the spirit. I'm gonna give y'all a testimony of the fight, right? So I had some charges that happened from a company, GoDaddy, right? And we're trying to get those charges back. They held up the money when they weren't supposed to charge it in the first place. It was a erroneous and illegal charge that they made on a credit card, right? So on the phone with them, going back and forth is frustrating, extremely frustrating. This has been many conversations, many hours have been put into trying to understand how they could do and make the mistake that they made because it was all on them. As we're going through it, a couple of times the energy, I guess you could say, right? The attitudes kicked in, on both sides, Uh, but I told them that this call was taking so long that they were interrupting me getting ready for my show. And the guy said, "Well, what show do you do?" I said, "I do a Hebrew State of Being, where I go live and I discuss the Torah to people." And he was like, "Whoa." And then I explained to him. He said that's great. He said, he said, how you he asked me in some form of fashion of how I'm Jewish, right? And I said, I'm not Jewish. I said, I'm a Hebrew. I said that I am of the sect that was driven from Northeast Africa and driven into the interior of Africa all the way to the west coast of Africa, then ultimately coming via transatlantic slave trip. I said the ones that are known as Jewish are the ones that converted. That's why there's an ish on the back of their name, and they converted in about 600 AD. I said, so basically, that's what my show is about, and can't get to it because I'm stuck doing this, right? So we go through the things, and he's trying to get with supervisors. I'm requesting a manager. I'm frustrated. I want the manager, right? Man's like, let me get it done for you. Let me get it done for you. After the man finally gets it done, he comes back and he says, look, first I want to tell you that I am Jewish. And he says that more than anything, I want to get this done for you because you're a brother of my tribe. You're a brother of me. He didn't say my tribe, he said you're a brother of me. Now, you know, when you are talking about testimonies and the things that happen in your life, and you tell someone who is practicing a oral tradition of our Torah and it, via their Talmud and via their Kabbalism that you are the original, and they not only accept that, but they feel indebted to help you, to do for you, to service you. So not only did he return the charge, but he gave us an equal amount of credit to a product that we already had to do for the business that was going to be the same amount. So wind up not having to pay anything and getting payment done on a bill. So all in the breath of them of me being righteous in a situation that was not uh, of my doing. I was embroiled in a highly intense situation with multiple parties that were involved, and I have to stay righteous in it. Doesn't matter what the problem is. We have to stay righteous in those problems. And no matter if it looks like we're losing or things are not going our way, we have to stay righteous in our work, in our communication, in our dealings. Yeah, the Most High has been making our oppressors work for all us. Praises, yes. When you stand on being a child of the Most High. So again, to sit there and tell a person that, you know, they're imitating us and that he's disrupting me bringing forth the word, he felt compelled to do something. And that's all that we can ask, right? As children of the Most High, we're asking that people acknowledge that we are that. But the only way they can do that is if we exhibit being that. And that's righteous in the midst of the fire. So then it says, the beginning of sorrow and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Now, we here understand that these are the things that are happening right now. That you talk to certain people, they know that there's a great food shortage coming. We talked about it a year ago in Corona and a year ago when it first broke out, and they reported that they were getting rid of milk and killing cattle and not being able to repackage food. We stated that when we said the past director of Monsanto's, as we've done a full show on Monsanto's here, on them now being the director of the FDA, that when we're talking about not eating processed food, it is now past just being unhealthy, but now we're dealing with the possibility of people actually trying to kill you and it being regulated by your Food and Drink Administration. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Rona, the problems, all that's happening is being sent for amendment. the scourges, these things are being sent for amendment. So when Nehemiah says that when all hell is broken loose, that we are to fast and to pray unto the Most High in the Shemayim, in the heavens. So when you're not getting the headway in your community, you're not getting the headway in your neighborhood, you're not getting the headway in your home, you're not getting the headway in your family or external family, you're not getting headway with being righteous and bringing forth righteousness and turning iniquity into righteousness, then it is a call for you to fast and to pray unto the Most High of the Shemayim. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, that's what we're talking about, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. And it says, as an arrow from a strong archer, it shall not return. Shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Oh, it says that people will not realize that the things that are happening to them is for them to turn. They won't know that it's a scourge. So the famine, the plague, the anguish, the tribulation, we won't know that that is trying to get us to turn from wickedness, to repent from our iniquity, repent from our ideology, the way that we think, repent from the ways that we used to do it, to follow the ways of the Most High. It says, behold, victuals, as food, shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So it's saying that even though food may be affordable, even though you may think that the grocery stores could never go out of business because they got to serve. I mean, what I heard in my community before, white people got to eat, so the grocery store is going to stay open. I mean, that's some ignorant nigga-ish. That's some ignorant nigga-ish. See, that's when you think that man is in control and not the Most High is control. That's the only way you can make that statement, is that because white people need the service, they're going to always have that service. You are now giving the power to another entity. And not to the Most High. And clearly the Most High said, I'm going to send all of that. I want all the smoke. You want to know who sent it? It is I. And it says, verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So, young men, daughters of Zion, the problems that you're going through in your household, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, it ain't nothing I want to hear, but the things that you're going through in your household is only preparing you for even more troubles to come. Your ability to be steadfast and stand on the Most High in your household, in your family, in your community, in your neighborhood is preparing you to be ready to be steadfast for the impending famine, the impending confusion, the impending sword. The evils, baby, the evils. Be mindful of that. Think that. Because see, like my shirt said, killing our own ain't gangster. We don't need to kill the spirit of our own. We don't need to kill the joy of our own. We don't need to kill the flesh of our own. We need to bring life. How do you bring life to death to people that are still living in their past and want you to be in the past with them? The ones that don't understand the future road, the ones that don't understand the new thing that's being done, the ones that don't have the understanding to put their trust in the Most High and the Ruach HaKodesh. What do you do with that? You fast, you stand, you fast, you stand, and then you pray 3 times to each one of those standing and those fastings and keep it rotating. And the dead shall cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Now, earlier it said the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of the great tribulation. That's the same words that the prophet Jeremiah states, that the Jacob's trouble would be denoted by the beginning of great sorrows, the great tribulation. So what you're reading in 2nd Ezra is witnessing to the prophecy of Jeremiah. You know, the precepts. So it's saying, there shall be no man left to till the earth or to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them to make wine? For all the places shall be desolate of men. The title of the show is The Disrespect and Dismantling of Man and the Prophets and Their Prophecies. They turned your prophets into Caucasians. They gave you a New Testament that gave you apostles that were not disciples. They gave you their Paulinian sayings and their mysteries, and the mysteries that have been plaguing our community and keeping us as subhuman. But yet, saying that we share in the same joy as the Gentile in their church, in their Catholic churches, their offshoots of Baptists and Methodists, and the religions of Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism and blase, 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 blase. Grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. Will it all be feminized? Men that don't identify themselves as men, but identify themselves as cis men, or men that likes men, or whatever. '27. So that man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, and in the cliffs of the rocks, and in the orchards of olives. Upon every tree there are 4 olives. Or as when the vineyard is gathered, and there is left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. 3 or 4 in a house with the sword. They're going to still be the remnant there. And then the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel through. The virgins The women, the young daughters of Zion shall mourn, having no bridegroom, no men. The women shall mourn, having no husband. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed in the wars, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Most High. Behold, the word of the Most High, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Most High spake. What? Believe not in the gods of whom the Most High spake. Believe and say, I'm sorry, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. Ooh. So believe not the gods of whom the Most High spake. So the Most High spake of the fallen angels. He spoke of them leading astray. So it's saying here, don't believe in what your government is telling you about. Just come on down and take this jug. It ain't really helping nobody. So behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth. They slack not a moment. Ooh. So you know when a woman is going to have birth and the doctor is asking the contractions, he's talking about the pains. See, how far off are they? Are they getting closer? Because they know once the contractions get closer, once they become continuous, the baby is coming forth. Oh my goodness. Uh-uh. Even so shall not the plagues be slack, not come upon be slack, not excuse me, even shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Ooh. It says when the plagues come, you may have to move. It says when the distress come, you may have to move. 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away. It says if you're going to sell it, run. And he that buyeth, as one that will lose. Ooh. Sell your things, take your money, and go. It says anybody that's buying is going to lose. He that occupied merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap, so also he that planted the vineyards, as he had shall not gather the grapes. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not, as they widowers. Mm. So they're going to be as though they're missing. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not, as they are widowers, as they may lose their spouse. And therefore they that labor, labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captive. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. Oof. So we're talking about slavery. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own person, the more will I be angry with them for their sins, saith the Most High. Like as a whore envies a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteous hate iniquity. So when people are telling us that we're supposed to turn the other cheek to our oppressors, when people are telling us that they should be with us and they are following the iniquity, we're supposed to hate that. How can we say that they're going to be a part of us? When she decketh herself and shall accuse her to her face, when he cometh that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth. So the Most High is going to send an angel, whether it be Yasha, right, to come and defend us, and diligently seek out the sin upon earth. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. So don't be like the world. Don't be sinners like that, because when it comes, it's going to be straight for yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. So we're going to stop right there at 52, because we're going to jump on over to Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58, verse 3 through 7. And it says, wherefore have I fasted? It said, wherefore have we fasted? Say they, and thou seest not. All right, we can go to the top. We'll go to the top. Isaiah from the first, right? Observance of fast, right? Isaiah says, cry out loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. So we're not supposed to be quiet in our households, in our neighborhoods, in our communities about the transgressions of our people. We speak it, and we speak it loud so that they hear. We don't force it down the throat. We speak it and it's known. 2, yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways. As a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their Most High, they ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching unto the Most High. Wherefore have we fasted? So we're talking about the righteous people that follow the ordinance. They have fasted, and they say, and they see us not. It says, wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. So all your labors are ignited when you fast. It says, as a rhetorical, who has fasted, who has sacrificed their spirit and not been known, and the Most High doesn't take knowledge of it. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate. So when do we fast? For strife and debate. We fast when we're in strife and debate. And to smite with the fist of wickedness. Oh, that too. When we're ready to get that battle going, we fast for that as well. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. Is it such a fast that I have chosen? Is it such a fast that I have chosen? A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day unto the Most High? Verse 6, is not this the fast that I have chosen? So he chose the fast, right? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free. Ooh. And that ye break every yoke. So the yokes is going to be the pestilence, it's going to be the affliction, it's going to be the strife, is going to be the debates, is going to be the sword. Verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry? Is not fasting to give bread to the hungry? And that thou bring the poor that are cast unto thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh? Ooh. there's a parable there, by the way, if you guys don't know. They're not talking about your actual flesh. They're talking about who you are, your personality, the things that you do, your mouth, your bad habits. That's the nakedness that we're talking about. It says, when thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh, from thy own iniquities, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Most High shall be thy reward. Maybe I don't believe Isaiah. Let's go to Daniel. Chapter 10. I'm going to go to verse 3. And Daniel says, I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. So Daniel going through what he's going through with Belshazzar, right? Right? He's about to be killed at one point because they wouldn't eat. He didn't want to eat their food. So he asked the guard to let them eat their own foods so they wouldn't be defiled. They set him up for his prayer and tried to kill him. They got the Abednego, Meshach, and Shadrach thrown in the fire. So you can tell that Daniel was going through some things. And what does Daniel do? Daniel said, I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all, rub himself down with oils. 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 24th day of the first month, as I was by side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes, and I looked, and behold, a certain closet in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. So after Daniel fasting, he received a vision. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 35, you know I love it, right? Psalms 35, verse 13. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting. So how do we humble our soul? Through fasting. How do we get victories? Through fasting. How do we break yokes? Through fasting. And my prayer returned unto my own bosom. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Chapter 1, verse 12. So we got all the ones for victories. We got the ones for everything, right? Now let's look at this one. It says, and they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan his son and for the people of the Most High and for the house of Yasharallah, because they were fallen by the sword. So in mourning, even in mourning, not just to break strongholds and to break debates and to break issues and affliction, but even in their sorrow of losing loved ones, they fast. Let's go to Esther. If y'all remember Esther, right? Esther was dealing with the fact that she knew the king was trying to kill her people. So she was the one that's going to represent all of Yasharallah, and she's now asking that everybody fast for her. So we've gone through fasting, breaking strongholds, breaking debates, breaking strife, breaking plagues, breaking all of these things that hold us down. We've seen fasting even for enriching and rejuvenating us in our mourning, in our sorrow. Now we're seeing groups fasting for an individual. And neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go into the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So she's saying after everybody fasts for her, she's going to tell the king the business, and if he decides to kill her, then so be it. Let's go to Exodus 34. Exodus chapter 34, and I'm going to let y'all out of here after this. Well, one more. Exodus 34, verse 28. Chapter 34, verse 28. And it says, and he was there with the Most High 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon a tablet the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So after, I see in the building, Wamba, word up, word up. So after Moses fasted, he received the 10 commandments. So it seems as though fasting also brings about wisdom. And Nehemiah, he received visions. And Daniel, he received visions. Nehemiah, Ezra received an angel that gave him all the Torah from fasting. When we face these impending and upcoming dangers, understand that the way that we are going to have to work through some of the harder ones is going to be to personally afflict and restrict our bodies so that the Most High hears us, so that we can get the answers to our prayers, so that we can get the strength, the rejuvenation, so that we can end debates, so we can end strife, so that we can know the direction to go. So I give that to you tonight. And as we go to Genesis 20, understand that what you're going through pales in comparison to what the prophets went through. And the prophets stood strong for us, and they died. So know that your journey is much easier than the prophets that came before you. No matter how hard it is, no matter what strife you're going on in your life, know that you didn't go through what Ezekiel went through. You didn't go through what Isaiah went through. You didn't go through what Jeremiah went through. Genesis chapter 20, verse 7, it says, now therefore restore the man his wife. We started off the show expressing that our society is being attacked, and that the title of the show is the disrespect of man and dismantling of man and the prophets. Here the Most High is clearly saying, now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Let's go to 6 to get some context. It says, the Most High said unto him in a dream, yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Ooh. Ooh. I want y'all to understand. Let's just go because this is good. Let's go to verse 3. But the Most High came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. Mm. So Abimelech, right, is trying to take Abraham, right, wife, trying to take her, right, and it says, uh, but remember, Abraham said as though that it was her sister, right? So we go on, right? And it says, Dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said unto the Most High, Wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Said he not unto me, She is my sister. So he's questioning Most High. Most High said, How did I know that she was married? And she even herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands have I done this. And the Most High said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Most High saying, I'm talking to you now so that you wouldn't sin against me. Because of that, therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. So I didn't make you, Now, verse 7, it says, Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet. So he's telling this man to release this woman because she belongs to his prophet. Again, the title of the show is the disrespect and dismantling of man and the prophet. And if thou restore her not, know that thou shalt surely die, and thou and all that are thine. So the Most High said, You touching my prophet's wife, I'll kill everything. So when we are talking about fasting and contorting our bodies and withholding from our bodies, uh, no matter how hard that would be, meaning no matter what our life situation is, if you're working in the kitchen and that's all you do is smell food all day, and you're like, how can I fast when I'm around food? Well, that's that whole strength that the Most High is trying to build. That's the whole reason for you doing it and finding the strength in Him to do it. And know that you have the victory, because every prophet that has, every man that has, every prophet that has, every man that has, every prophet that has, every man that has fasted has seen great things and been heard by the Most High. So, what do we do as we toxic masculinity, as us toxic men? What do we do in this time when we're being attacked on all places? What does a daughter of Zion that can't find a real man, a man that's following the Most High, what does she do in this hour? What if a man has a woman but she does not follow the Most High and she is going astray? What does a daughter of Zion do if her head is not following in the Most High? What do you do when these entities seem to be bringing you to a hellhole or a cliff? Or just the fact that they are disturbing your everlasting peace? You fast and you pray on them, just as you would do the bully on the block, as you would do Hashatan, as you would do another nation. You fast and you pray on them. But most importantly, do it all, no matter what you do, whether you fast or not, make sure that you are righteous in your mouth and what comes out of your mouth, and righteous in your actions. Point blank, period. So, that's our lesson for tonight. Understanding that famine is a coming, understanding that the bowls have been not coming back. Understand that everything is going to get tighter. And the only way that you're going to answer these things when you don't have any answer, when you can't fathom an answer, when you can't analyze it, when you can't give an answer for someone that's asking a question, you're going to have to get comfortable with saying, I'm going to resort to the Most High, and you're going to back up off me and give me 50 feet while I consult the Most High. That's what we're going to do. Yes, all praise, my brother. I'm glad y'all enjoyed the word for the night. Understand that your peace in your conversation with the Most High, your fasting, your ability to contort, restrict, discipline yourself for the Most High to hear you is your key to unlocking your messages unto the Most High. So with that said, all praises. We will see you guys on Shabbat. Me Shalom. All praises. I pray that you guys enjoyed this meal, this lesson tonight. And remember, one thing, like the brother says, is deep. You know.
Just pick the Bible up and read, yeah. But they too busy smoking quiche. That's all they ever wanna do. Wonder why talking, they don't wanna listen. They don't wanna listen. No wonder why God start talking, cause we don't listen. No. I'm an Israelite, hey. I'm not a religion. Hey. No, it really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the mark of the beast. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flexing for leaves. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deeper to see. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah. It really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Ooh, deeper than me. It really get deep. It really get deep. It really get deep. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. But it really get deep. It really get deep. So we need to pray. They taught us that we wasn't Israel. It made us their slaves. They put us to change. We covered Jerusalem. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We chose a face. Why do they hate us? Why can we not prosper? Put down the pork, strip and lobster, and put all your trust in the Father. When we were slaves, that's what they taught us. Because they knew it disobeyed our Father. And by default, we did had a knowledge of what they eat because we were starving. And Sunday was our only day to rest. They showed our ancestors, they taught the rest. And now every Sunday, these churches full with nobody keeping the Sabbath. Friday night and Saturday, they turning up. That's what we was taught when we was growing up. They praise the Jesus, but don't know Yeshaya. We call him God, but don't know higher. It really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the mark of the beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flexing for leaves. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deeper to see. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah. It really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. It really get deep.
When you in the belly of the beast, gotta find my way through the streets. I know some youngers robbing just to eat, ducking, dodging up police. Do anything to succeed, gotta make a way by any means. My mama's is deep in the streets, hey, but I had to switch my lane. The most I revealed his name. I started to keep the commandments. We in the curses, I can't stand it. On my way tight on my faith. I know some people locked away, calling home and getting answers. A lot of people battling cancer. What you gonna do when that martial law hit? What you gonna do when they enforce the chip? What you gonna do when your daughter can't eat? Prophecy fulfilling, but my people sleep. It's time to wake up. Israel call on the Savior. No religion, but this is our nation. Israelites, the children of Jacob.
It really get deep. It really get deep. The world is about to unleash the mark of the beast. It really get deep. It really get deep. But you read about busting down rollies and flexing for leaves. It really get deep. I'm telling you, don't let it go over your head. It get deeper to see. Don't let it go over your head. Ooh, yeah. It really get deep. It really get deep. Deeper than you. Deeper than me. It really get deep. Lord, please protect my soul, yeah. Forgive them what they don't know, Lord.